Hello and welcome to Inside Homebrewing. I'm Jay Thomas, and this is the Roggen beer I brewed up about 6 weeks ago. Bottled it 2 weeks ago. This is a Roggen for the Brew United Homebrew Challenge. See how that goes. Oh, it looks real good. Some nice carbonation. Oh, it smells good. It smells spicy. Real good. Delightful. So anyway, today I'm going to make show you how I make a yeast starter. Pretty simple, pretty quick, and straightforward. I don't use a stir plate. I don't worry about checking the specific gravity, stuff like that. I just basically, I use 2 cups dry malt extract, 4 cups water, heat it up, bam, good to go. The results are fantastic. We'll get started and I'll show you how that's done. Alright, here's all you need to make a quick yeast starter. Get some dry malt extract. I got a few varieties here. I got some dark, I got some Pilsen, and I got some Golden Light. You need your yeast, of course. Tomorrow I'm going to be making a Kentucky Common, so I'm using the Yeast 1056 American Ale. A bottle that'll hold the yeast starter in it, a bottle stopper, and a fermentation lock. Pretty much all you need. Oh, and then a pan to put it all in, and measuring cup. So the way I do it, I'll take 2 cups dry malt extract. Whatever variety is fine. It's kind of clumpy. Just break that up a little bit. Then I'm going to, just to get rid of this stuff, we're going to add in some more dark extract. Bring it up to the 2 cup level. That was the Pilsen. Being a Kentucky Common, it's going to be a little dark, so a little bit of dark extract in there won't hurt anything. So that comes to about a total of 2 cups. And I always use the El Dorado spring water in all my beers. You need 4 cups of that. Dump that right in there. Turn on the heat. Stir it up, and here we go. Now if anything's going to boil over, it's going to be a 2-to-1 concentrate of dry malt extract. Or really any concentrate of dry malt extract with some water. You really got to watch it. Don't need that making a mess. Just keep stirring it while it heats up. We're going to bring it to a gentle boil and boil it for a little while before we cool it off, so that I can add the yeast. It's been boiling a few minutes now. Should be good. Just shut off the heat and set it to the side. Let that cool off. In the meantime, the yeast is warmed up. Get that smack in there, get that smack pack smacked and mixed around. Let it do its thing. Alright, that's had time to cool off a little bit. Not nearly enough. I mean, you touch the side, it's still hot, kind of hot, but it's cooled off enough where it's not going to be a problem going into this glass jar. Can't pitch the yeast yet, it's got to cool off. So get that put in there. In the meantime, the yeast package is swelling up pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is just cool that off more, a little quicker, speed the process up by putting it into a little ice bath. So I got that in there. Take a little alcohol, make sure that's clean. It's been sanitized already, but just like to make sure everything's sterilized. Put that on here. No water in there yet, because if as it cools off, it would just end up sucking the water out of the fermentation lock and into the yeast. So just leave it open and add some water into the ice. Give it a little ice bath for a while. This is a rapid way to cool off your yeast starter. Shake it up a little bit, get some air in there, aerate it. I could oxygenate it. I have an oxygen bottle, but aeration is usually enough for this. Shake it up. Do that a few times, just shake it up, stick it back in the ice, and let it cool off quicker that way. A lot faster than just leaving it sit to cool off at regular room temperature. So now it's showing about 71, 72 degrees. I just put it in the ice, stir it around a little bit. It's aerating by doing this and cooling off. Room temperature is about 70 degrees in here. The yeast starter is now at 70 degrees. The yeast has been sitting and warmed up 70 degrees. Everything's good to go. Time to put that in there. Put the yeast into the little jug and get the yeast starter going. So now what I'll do is just take a little alcohol and clean up the scissors. Get that wiped down. It was already washed and cleaned. And then take that same alcohol and clean up the outside of the yeast package. Good to go. Cut that off there. Add the yeast. Take a smell. Oh, I love that smell. It's awesome. A little more alcohol. Clean up the lip of the little jug here. Clean up the stopper. Shake that around. Get it all mixed in. A little more aeration to it. Add some water. There's a yeast starter. It's that easy. Now we'll check on that here in about a few hours, see what's happening. Should be starting to show signs of fermentation, you know, tomorrow morning sometime. Once we start brewing the beer, it should be bubbled up real nice. It'll be all good to go for our batch of Kentucky Common tomorrow morning. I pitched the yeast in there roughly 5 hours ago, and it's fermenting away. It's looking good. Alright, we're all done. Everything's put away. Yeast has been pitched about 2 hours ago. It's already fermenting. That's the advantage of having a good strong yeast starter. Well, the yeast has been pitched about 13 hours ago. Just starting to get a bit of blowout. That's the advantage of having a strong yeast starter, is you want it to start fermenting the beer as quickly as possible. Everything's looking good so far. Alright, that brew day is all done. As you can see, the yeast starter worked great. It's fermenting away. It started fermenting real fast, and now, 13 hours later, it's starting to get a bit of a blow off coming out of there. So I'm going to leave it alone now for about 2-3 days and attach a blow-off tube. But anyway, that yeast starter works every time. If you have fresh yeast or even not so new yeast, can be revived real easily with the strong yeast starter. I always use 2 cups dry malt extract, 4 cups water, heat it up to a boil it for just a couple minutes to kill anything that may be in there, in that water or in that yeast starter. I always use the spring water though, so it's never an issue. But just a gentle boil for a little while, cool it off, add the yeast to it, and let it do its thing. Usually, by the next day when you're on brew day, it's good to go and fermenting well inside that little jug of your yeast starter. So then pitch that yeast activity within a few hours every time, just about. So that's my formula, and I prefer the Y yeast. I use White Lab sometimes, but like I said, I prefer the Y yeast. The Imperial yeast I've used only one time. Horrible result. So I like to stick with what works for me, and that's the Y yeast. Anyway, that's my conclusion on a simple, quick, easy yeast starter. We'll see you next time inside Homebrewing.